Greetings, fellow book lovers, and welcome back to Colin's Corner. Today, we're going to be going over my December TBR. These are the books that I plan on finishing out the year with. But before we go over my list, we of course have to go over the answer for the last video's Comedy with Colin segment, where I asked you guys to joke, why are balloons so expensive? The answer? Inflation. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on with what I plan on reading in the month of December. The first couple of books that I'm going to go over are books that I guess the first few actually. These are books that are just kind of longer term reads that I am just currently going over, not really with an end date in plan necessarily, because they are, like I said, longer reads. But the first is going to be, I am finally getting back to my first read through of A Song of Ice and Fire with A Feast for Crows. I don't know, it's not going to focus. Anyways, this is the fourth installment in A Song of Ice and Fire. This one I'm doing on audiobook, and I'm only about 3 hours in so far, so I'm really just at the beginning of this one, and I'm already enjoying it a lot. I after the highs of A Storm of Swords, I've been kind of, I don't know why, taking a break from A Song of Ice and Fire. Like I said, not for really any particular reason. I just figured there's really no rush for me to get through the series. It's not like, there's a new book waiting on the horizon for me, which is fine. But it's because of that made me deprioritize this a bit, because these are really long reads, and I'm in no rush to get through them. I kind of just want to sit with these. These are great books to just kind of read a few chapters, listen to a few chapters in my case, and then maybe be able to put it down for a while. It's very episodic, as you guys know, so I feel like with these, I can put them down for a couple days and come back to them and not feel like, I'm jarred out of the story or anything like that. But now that I'm back, I'm excited to see all the developments that happen in A Feast for Crows. I do know, just from being around BookTube for a while now, that this fourth installment isn't always everybody's favorite upon the first read. I do know I've heard a lot of people say that this has a very high reread value. So so far I'm enjoying it, and I hope that trend continues. Alright, next up for my second book, which is a continuation of a book that I've already started. Continuing my Malazan journey with, boom, Memories of Ice. Book number 3 in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and as of the recording of this video, I'm about 150 pages in. I think that I just finished chapter 4 on book 1, so there's a lot left. I think my edition has 900 some pages, so obviously I've got a lot left, but this prologue was absolutely fantastic. I heard a lot of people say that it was fantastic, and I was gripped from the beginning. Of course, in classic Malazan fashion, it has taken me by surprise by opening hundreds of thousands of years prior to the events of the main series, so that kind of threw me for a bit of a loop. But so far, from what I can tell, Memories of Ice is going to be a continuation of the events of Gardens of the Moon. So what's going on seems like so much had happened at the end of Gardens of the Moon, and what we're getting, I think, in Memories of Ice, at least so far, like I said, is kind of the fallout of that. What new forces will rise, what new alliances will be made, who's going to be working with who, what's the end goal here. So obviously the Malazan Empire itself and the realm, this world is kind of in disarray. There's a lot going on between gods and, ascendants descending and just crazy stuff happening. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. I know that we've been doing a lot of catching up in these first 150, 200 so pages. We're doing a lot of catching up with the Bridge Burners. We get to see more of and get to know better Caladan Brood, who seems like a very interesting character. Perrin, Ganois Perron, however you say it. He's got a very interesting story developing, so I'm excited to see where this goes. We I think everybody who's been part of our Malazan discussions up to this point has now started Memories of Ice, and we don't have a distinct end date in mind. We're just going to keep chugging along until we all finish. But when we do plan on doing another live discussion, a spoiler-filled discussion. Once we all finish, once we decide a date, we will of course let you guys know, because you guys have been amazing about coming and chatting with us on the live discussions, and especially in our Discord server. So if you are currently reading Malazan, if you've read it and you just want to talk more about it, be sure to join our Discord server, An Unexpected Party. I will link that in the description of this video like I usually do. But needless to say, this has been a fantastic start, and I am gripped, hooked, caught again by the Malazan bug, and I think I needed this and Realm of the Outerlings to really help me get out of my slump. Another book that I am currently in the midst of reading is The Dark Half by Stephen King, of course, the man himself. Now, my sister and I have decided to try something out. So we're going to try to keep a Stephen King book kind of rolling, each reading one at the same time. And we're going to use it as a way to just, have an excuse to catch up and to read more King books, because although I've read 30-odd King books so far, there's still a ton more that I need to read. And she recently finished it, and she really enjoyed it, thank God. And she kind of, I think, caught the bug a little bit. So she's been thrifting, picking up some King books when she sees them. The Dark Half was one of them that she picked up that I haven't read yet and I owned. So we're starting here. We are just kind of leisurely working our way through this, just arbitrarily picking 5 or 6 chapters to read at a time and then discussing them. So that's, I think, kind of how this is going to go. Again, similar to Memories of Ice, we don't really have an end date per se chosen, but this has been great so far. It was a bit of a wacky opening. Stephen King has a way of I don't know, his crazy ideas sometimes just feel too crazy for me. Like, I won't be able to suspend my disbelief with this one. And lo and behold, like 2 or 3 chapters later, I find myself like, oh, this could happen. This is pretty freaky. And that's essentially exactly what happened here. And this is my first personal interaction with Sheriff Alan Pangborn, who I love. He's amazing. And Thad Beaumont, although he's like the main character, is a little boring as of right now. I don't know. There's a lot going on, but the intensity is picking up. I think we're kind of really just kind of digging our claws in now to the main story where we're at. We're about 12 chapters in so far. So I'm really enjoying this. My sister's really enjoying this. We are going to continue reading and discussing, and I will let you guys know my thoughts at the end of The Dark Half. Next up, I will be continuing, of course, my journey through the Realm of the Outerlings by Robin Hobb, with the second book in the Rainwild Chronicles called Dragon Haven. Now, I finished Dragon Keeper about a week ago, and I will talk more about my thoughts on Dragon Keeper in my wrap-up, which I hope to get out within about a week or so. But I know Ben from Books with Genghis Khan, my chatter for our spoiler discussions. He really loved Dragon Keeper, the first book, and kind of just went right into Dragon Haven, and he flew through that. He's already done with the first 2. So he is really, really enjoying it. I did enjoy Dragon Keeper, and like I said, I'll share more of my thoughts of Dragon Keeper when I do my wrap-up. But I believe that the plan is for Ben and I to discuss the first 2 books in our next discussion, which is kind of breaking our one book per discussion thing we've had going on so far. But I think that, since he's already finished the first 2, he said Dragon Haven was kind of a good jumping off place for a little break. So I'm going to try to keep up with him a little bit and get started with Dragon Haven pretty soon. It's not too long. I should be able to get through it. And we don't have a date decided upon for our next discussion, but when we do, we will let everybody know, because, again, you guys in the live chat make it just so much more fun for us, and oftentimes hearing your thoughts, bouncing thoughts off of each other, I realize more, I learn more about the series, and that's literally the main reason that I started a BookTube channel in the first place, was to talk about books. So I am so excited for all these discussions that I have coming up, because it really enriches my reading experience far, far more than what I would ever glean just reading by myself. All right, next up we have another book from who I believe is a new favorite contemporary horror author in Stephen Graham Jones, and this is the novella Night of the Mannequins. Now this is a short guy. Let me see. This is 130 pages, and I read in October / November, the end of October and then throughout November, I read the first 2 books in Stephen Graham Jones's Indian Lakes trilogy called My Heart is a Chainsaw and Don't Fear the Reaper, and I absolutely loved them. They actually inspired me to, which I'm sure this would make Stephen Graham Jones happy if he were to hear this, they inspired me to go back and watch some old thrasher, slasher, horror, Friday the 13th kind of realm of movies, and it's been so much fun. The main premise of the Indian Lakes trilogy is this high school girl is like a mega expert super fan on old school slasher horror flicks, knows them all, knows the premises, knows the storylines, knows the characters, and so it kind of inspired me to go back and watch some of these, and I really enjoy Stephen Graham Jones's voice. It feels unique to me. It feels like he's really kind of spinning his own web, and I think that in contemporary horror, which I haven't read a lot of, I've tried a few that just, I don't know, they for some reason didn't click with me. I know that they are authors a lot of other people love, and like for example, Victor Laval, I tried to read his book recently. What the heck was that called? Lone Women. It didn't work for me, but I know he has a lot of other books out. I'd like to try him, but I've kind of been on a quest recently to find a more contemporary horror author, and I think Stephen Graham Jones is one that is going to work really, really well for me. And come to find out, he actually has written a lot more than I thought he had. So it's exciting for me to find a new author that I'm really clicking with and I'm really enjoying, and to be able to dig through their back catalog and read a lot of his other stuff. And it's not too long either, which typically lends itself well to me enjoying a horror book when it doesn't kind of go over long and feel long-winded. So anyways, I'm going to read Night of the Mannequins. From a lot of Stephen Graham Jones fans, I have heard this is a wild ride and a very crazy, short, action-packed 130 pages. And the premise is a little goofy. I think it's based around a prank where a group of friends or a friend brings a mannequin into a movie theater, like I said, as a prank, and turns out the thing comes alive and begins killing people. So it sounds kind of silly, which I guess at face value, a lot of horror premises can sound pretty silly, and fantasy too. But I've heard it's fantastic. I think Stephen Graham Jones, through the first 2 books he's written, has begun to really earn my trust, and I'm excited to give this a try. And I think after this one, I don't know for sure yet, but I might move on to Mongrels, which is another shorter novella that he has written. So if you guys are Stephen Graham Jones fans out there, please let me know what some of your favorite Stephen Graham Jones books are, and I will certainly be adding them to my list. The last book that I hope to start at least, but probably won't finish, is going to be the second book in the Edan trilogy, The Prophet of Edan, by, of course, none other than Dr. Philip Chase. Now, admittedly, I would like to have already had read this, or finished this and been already on to the Return to Edan, but I just fallen a bit behind on my plans, which is okay. It's not the end of the world. However, I will get back on track in December, and I'm very excited to read the second installment. In this second book, we're going to see just how far the reach of this holy war is, what parts of Eormenland this is affecting, how many people it's affecting, what alliances are getting formed, and we will get to see Dayraven Sakara's storyline continue to grow in their quest to just protect the world and all that they hold dear. So I really enjoyed The Way of Edan, and based on where things left off, I can't wait to see what is going to develop in the second installment in this trilogy. that is going to do it for my reading plans for the end of the year. I know I am aiming a bit high, but I've busted out of my slump, and I have been reading a lot of exciting things right now. Since busting out of my slump, I feel like picking up Dragon Keeper felt like I was the Kool-Aid man, and the Wall was my slump, and I was just like, hey, busting through and just like really enjoying reading again, which was, it made my heart happy. I was really bummed and like irritated with myself for no real reason. It's okay to go through a slump sometimes, but I wanted to read and I just couldn't get into it for a while, and so now I'm back. I'm really excited. Jumping in with very high goals. My semester should be ending in the beginning part of December, so I'll have a little bit of extra reading time to read and make videos and chat with you guys. So before we end today's video, we of course have to do this video's comedy with Colin. Today's joke is going to be, what does Santa suffer from when he gets stuck in a chimney? If you think you know the answer, add it to your comments below. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you keep up with my reads. As always, I hope you guys are all enjoying what you're currently reading. And remember, you're always welcome in Colin's Corner.